welcome back to another art time lapse. Today I'll be doing the hat shop. This is a continuation of a series I've been working on, inspired by little shops and also characters from Studio Ghibli's many memorable movies. So for today, when I mentioned the hat shop, if you're a Studio Ghibli fan, you're probably familiar with Howl's Moving Castle. So that's where the piece will be inspired by. So I'm gonna start by watering down my gouache and layering basic layout of where the shop will be, where the sign will be, and the door. I love watering down my gouache to kind of draft out the space, and then as I layer on the next layer on top, I usually add less and less water, and that way there will be more contrast and pigmentation, and it also creates a lot more dimension to the piece. You can see I'm imagining a lot of foliage that'll be growing around the little shop. And then once the bottom layer dries, which usually takes around, I would say 5-10 minutes depending on how much water I add, I would mix in different types of greens and then mixing in blue and then dabble my leaves on top. I really enjoy this process because it's nice and relaxing as I wait for one layer to dry and then add on the next layer. And then with each layer, like I mentioned, I add less and less water. Now this process may seem really fast to you, but to be honest with me, something like this nowadays takes me around a few weeks. And which is why I really like the gouache medium, that I can go in and out and paint whenever I have time and go back to it. Here you can see I'm starting to add in the Studio Ghibli's Howl and Sophie characters in the front store, and I imagine they're just shopping around, heading to a hat store. I'm not sure if they own this hat store or they're just kind of browsing around on their vacation, but either way I think it will be so adorable that they will visit the hat shop here. You can see for my mixing dish, I use a soy sauce dish that I picked up at my local supermarket, and it's not too big, but it will be simple enough for me to use, given that I usually just do a small segment of my piece at a time, so I don't need a lot of paint. So here I have waited for the last layer to dry, and I'm now layering on Sophie's dress, the signature blue dress that you're probably really familiar with. And along that, I'm using some of the blue and greens from her dress to add to some of the foliage that's growing around the hot shop. Slowing things down, now you can see that I'm drawing the pots for where the trees and the little plants will be. The type of gouache I'm using is Holbein acrylic gouache, so it has an interesting component in that it has gouache in that it's very pigmented and contrasts at the same time, but it also has acrylic components to make it permanent. As I'm watching my footage now, I realize it kind of goes in and out with a warm and cool tone. I think probably has to do with the blinds beside my window, and there might be a little bit of a draft, but bear with me. I hope you still will stick around for this. If you like some of these art videos and my art time lapses, I'll appreciate it very much if you would consider like, subscribe, and sharing this video. It really helps with the channel. A lot of times when I'm painting, I like to have a hot cup of water or tea with me as I'm painting. In the past, I would turn on a little bit ambient music in the background. Nowadays, I don't really have the opportunity with ambient music, given that I usually try to paint when my kids are asleep, so the house is actually quite quiet at the time. I really like Howl's Moving Castle, the movie, given I think that there's a lot of creativity involved with the entire movie, and I just find that the whole piece was just so magnificent. All the little intricate pieces that come together makes me feel so rejuvenated and that trying something new, at least from the art perspective. I haven't seen the movie in a while, but after working on this particular art piece, I feel motivated to go back and watch it. Have you seen Howl's Moving Castle? What about you? What's your favorite Studio Ghibli movie? I'd like to know. Here I'm using a very small fine brush to add in the detail for Sophie's hair. It'll be better known to you when I zoom in later so you can see the character. They are actually quite small. The paper I'm painting on is an art block that is 7 by 7 inches. I love working with art blocks because I don't necessarily have to tape the paper to a board or a table of some sort, and I can kind of move between pieces and relocate it given that I don't have a lot of table space. Here I'm just writing in on the top hats so that people know that they're selling hat shop. Not that they would know, as I'll be adding little hats by the window, so probably of different colors. I'm hoping that by the end all the little hat shops and bookshops and all the little shops that I put together for inspired by Studio Ghibli will come together as a very cute set. Possibly something to put by the window in the living room or like in the kitchen. I just think that the shops will look so cute when you have the whole set together. And I think the idea of putting in a shop that's inspired by the movie, such as the hat shop with Sophie's and where she kind of originally came from, is just so endearing. And at this point, I'm pretty much close to the end. I'm just dabbing in a little bit of yellow for the little flowers growing on the lines on the foliage across the store, just to add a little bit of color to the piece. If you actually have the opportunity, you can scroll back to the beginning of the YouTube video and you'll see how the piece has grown so much. I am very happy of how it turned out. It looks like there is a lot of dimension and depth to the piece, not just something that is like illustrated with just flat colors, which is something I have always been trying hard to work on, because I think adding dimension to a piece can just bring so much more makes a piece just look so much more interesting, if you know what I mean. So here I'm just gonna speed things up because you probably don't want to watch me dab little bits of yellow flowers on the piece. And then I'll do a scan through. So this is the final piece of the hat shop inspired by Studio Ghibli's Howl's Moving Castle. I hope you enjoyed this art time lapse, and thanks for joining me on this video. And I look forward to seeing you in my next art time lapse. Take care and stay safe, everyone. Bye now.